I bring word, sire. There are demands from the Banorn that you step down from the Regency. They are said to be gathering their forces, as are your allies. It appears it will be civil war after all, despite the Darkspawn. Pity. I also have an interesting report. There seem to be Grey Wardens who survived Ostagar. How, I don't know. But they will act against you. I have arranged for a solution, with your leave.
The Antivan crows send their regards.
An assassin?
Against Grey Wardens, we will need the very best, sire.
And the most expensive.
Just get it done.
Oh, thank the Maker. We need help. They attacked the wagon. Please help us. Follow me. I'll take you to them.
I thought I would wake up dead, or not wake up at all, as the case may be. But I see you haven't killed me yet. Ah, so I am to be interrogated. Let me save you some time. My name is Zevran. Zev to my friends. I am a member of the Antivan Crows, brought here for the sole purpose of slaying any surviving Grey Wardens, which I have failed at, sadly.
I can tell you that. They are an order of assassins out of Antiva, very powerful and renowned for always getting the job done, so to speak. Someone went to great expense to hire this man.
Quite right. I'm surprised you haven't heard much of the Crows out here. Back where I come from, we're rather infamous. Not precisely. I was in the neighborhood when the offer came. The Crows get around, you see. A rather taciturn fellow in the capital. Logan, I think his name was. Yes, that's it. I have no idea what his issues are with you. The usual, I imagine. You threaten his power, yes? Beyond that, no, I am not loyal to him. I was contracted to perform a service. I wasn't. If I had succeeded, I would have returned home and the Crows would have informed your Logan of the results, if he didn't already know. If I had failed, I would be dead, or I should be, at least as far as the Crows are concerned. No need to see Logan then. What can I say, huh? I am an eternal optimist. Although the chances of succeeding at this point seem a bit slim, don't they? No, I don't suppose you'd find that funny, would you? I wasn't paid anything. The Crows, however, were paid quite handsomely, or so I understand. Which does make me about as poor as a chantry mouse, come to think of it. Being an Antivan Crow isn't for the ambitious, to be perfectly honest. Well, aside from a distinct lack of ambition, I suppose it's because I wasn't given much of a choice. The Crows bought me young. I was a bargain, too, or so I'm led to believe. But don't let my sad story influence you. The Crows aren't so bad. They keep one well supplied. Wine, women, men, whatever you happen to fancy. Though the whole severance package is garbage, let me tell you. If you're considering joining, I'd really think twice about it. Why not? I wasn't paid for silence. Not that I offered it for sale, precisely. Loyalty is an interesting concept. If you wish, and you're done interrogating me, we can discuss it further. Well, here's the thing. I failed to kill you, so my life is forfeit. That's how it works. If you don't kill me, the crows will. Thing is, I like living. And you obviously are the sort to give the crows pause, so let me serve you instead. To be completely honest, I was never given much of a choice regarding joining the crows. They bought me on the slave market when I was a child. I think I paid my worth back to them plus tenfold. The only way out, however, is to sign up with someone they can't touch. Even if I did kill you now, they might just kill me on principle for failing the first time. Honestly, I'd rather take my chances with you. Possibly. I happen to know their wily ways, however. I can protect myself as well as you. Not that you seem to need much help. And if not, well, it's not as if I had many alternatives to start with, is it? I happen to be a very loyal person. Up until the point where someone expects me to die for failing. That's not a fault, really, is it? I mean, unless you're the sort who would do the same thing. In which case, I don't come very well recommended, I suppose.
What? You're taking the assassin with us now? Does that really seem like a good idea? We could apparently use a swift kick in the head too, but you don't see me going around asking for one.
A fine plan, but I would examine your food and drink far more closely from now on, were I you.
That's excellent advice for anyone.
Welcome, Zevran. Having an Antivan crow join us sounds like a fine plan.
Oh, you're another companion to be, then? I wasn't aware such loveliness existed amongst adventurers, surely.
Or maybe not.
I hereby pledge my oath of loyalty to you until such a time as you choose to release me from it. I am your man, without reservation. This I swear. Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it would be to go there. It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom. Or so the saying goes. It's not really a matter of wanting to go back. I cannot go. At least not yet. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable? No? That is too bad. If you were, then surely you would spend as much time boasting about it as I do. You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most. I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home more than anything else. Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in the store window. Finest Antivan leather. Perfect craftsmanship. But I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no? True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden, a man who then spares my life? I could not. Perhaps that was a poor choice of words. True, though it is. Do you object? And glad I am to hear it. I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. How should I know? My mother was a whore, as you'll recall. None of the other elven boys in the whorehouse knew their fathers. I was not so unusual. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. Oh, there has been plenty. To tell the truth, it is because I expected nothing more. Still, even I eventually thought that it would be better for me if I ran off to join the famous Dalish when one of their clans drew near Antiva city. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on. Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for? I did not mean to sound ungrateful. It is just... Wait, these are Dalish, are they not? My mother was Dalish, and had a pair very similar to these. The leather was less thick, and it had more embroidery, but these are very close, and quite handsome. Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you. I've a question, if I may. Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity. Oh, I imply nothing specific, of course. One simply assumes that once your Grey Warden business is finished, you would have no need of an assassin to follow you about. Am I wrong? I'm sure I could come up with a few more if pressed. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it? To be truthful, I didn't even know the crows existed when I joined them. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased, for 3 sovereigns, I'm told, which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The crows buy all their assassins that way, buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder, and if you do poorly in your training, you die. Of course. You compete against your fellow assassins, and those who survive are rightfully proud of it. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining. At the moment, I happen to fancy you. Which is handy, as I happen to be following you about the countryside. That is, of course, presuming you don't decide to kill me at some point. It spoils the mood, I'm told. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go. And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so. And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared. The authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses. Even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree? Now there's an interesting word, innocent. How many men do you know who can claim to be truly innocent? But if you're talking generalities, such as children and relatives and bystanders and such, never on purpose. But it happens. It's unfortunate, but death comes to us all. If not me, then some wasting disease, or a fall down the stairs, or at the hands of a darkspawn. It's all relative in the end. Death happens, as we like to say, and when I get paid for it, death happens more often. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed, the pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands. It is not pleasure, per se, nothing sexual. It is more a sense of satisfaction, a feeling of power. Does that make sense? No matter. There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. Having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules, oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else? I mean professionally. Or maybe you mean professionally as well. Perhaps you intend to peddle my services to bored Ferelden noblewomen. It is an interesting thought, but I've always removed my clothes strictly on an amateur basis. A talented amateur, of course, but an amateur nonetheless. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them. My adventures? I'm hardly an old man just returned from across the ocean, am I? Should I shake my fist at nearby children while I talk about the good old days? Falling down a flight of stairs is an adventure. Falling into someone's bed, also an adventure. I am assuming what you're looking for are professional anecdotes. Let's see, my second mission ever for the Crows was a bit intriguing. I was sent to kill a mage who had been meddling in politics. In Antiva, nobody is too important to escape the reach of the Crows. They've killed kings and queens. That is simply how it is. As it turned out, the mage in question was quite a delightful young woman. Long, divine legs, as I recall. I caught her in a carriage on her way to escape to the provinces. After I killed her guard, she got down on her hands and knees and begged for her life. Rather aptly, I might add. So I joined her in the carriage for the night and left the next morning. Well, yes, twice, actually. Then she decided to try and use me instead. The woman had actually convinced me to speak to the Crows on her behalf. What can I say? I was young and foolish at the time. Then, as I was kissing her goodbye to return to Antiva City, she slipped on the threshold and fell backwards out of the carriage. Broke her neck. Shame, really, but at least it happened quickly. At first, yes. Well, not upset. Surprised is really a better word. Then I found out that she had told the driver to take her to Janellen instead. She had planned to lose me in the provinces. I would have looked very foolish to the crows. As it was, my master was very impressed that I had done such a fine job of making it look like an accident. The circle of magi was unaware of foul play, and everyone was happier all around. Like being spared by a benevolent mark who then helps me escape from the crows? Yes, it does seem to happen now and again, doesn't it? It was after that when I learned that one needn't let a pretty face go to your head. Professionalism was key. That's my moral of the day, you see. Well, there is you. But I'll point out that you did have to capture me and tie me up first. Every rule has its exception. Now that I've mentioned tying me up in that context, do we have extra rope about? Again? Well now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax poisoning? I watched a man go through all 7 once. Ahaha, you have rather macabre tastes, I see. I like that. Let's see, how about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Azrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts? Prince Azrin was 4th in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocel from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Azrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells. Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners, after all, would you? And this means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part. My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in a river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history. Haha, it's true. I live a charmed life. One of the prostitutes that raised me was a fortune teller. Said I wouldn't die young. She was rather startled by that. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh?
It's far easier this way, don't you think? The lies are always more fun.
Oh, I don't know. Random violence can be fun. But this is good too.
Yes, fun. Tricking Morgan. Oh, who am I kidding? That does sound fun. I'm a bad man.
Not killing Morrigan's mother. That is the more noble choice, right? Right?
So, are you a very religious man, Alistair? I'm curious. I believe I heard you say you were raised in an abbey.
I was raised in a castle. I was schooled in the abbey. As far as being religious, I don't know. Not especially. What about you? Not in your line of work, I expect.
Why do you say that? I happen to be quite devoted in my way, as most Antivans are.
Truly? But you kill people for money.
And I ask forgiveness for my sins from the Maker every chance I get. What manner of monster do you think I am?
But you ask forgiveness and then you go right on with your sinning.
The Maker has never objected. Why should you?
I have no idea.
Well, there you go. Perhaps you ought to think about asking for a little forgiveness yourself, huh?
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Doolan Forrender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. In an ordinary time, Lord Haramont would be honored to meet you. Unfortunately, we've already caught more than one of Balin's spies approaching Haramont under a pretense of friendship. So I'm afraid I won't be able to take your word. If you want to speak to Haramont, you will need to prove he can trust you. That's a generous offer. If you mean it, you might attend the proving today. The Deshers take it very seriously. And unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Haramont's best fighters into stepping down. It would certainly make your loyalties loud and clear.
And this is to be your king. One who cannot keep his own men from running like frightened children.
Lord Haramont does not use threats or intimidation to motivate his men. He leads by example.
Ah, I see. So it's his example they follow as they cower from this Prince Balin.
How dare you slander Lord Haramont?
Why should we ally ourselves with someone too scared even to grant us an audience? Were I you, I would seek a stronger king than this Haramont.
Surely you don't mean Balin. Then you and I have nothing more to say.
What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Well, the only one that's really worth telling is the story of the mission right before I came to Ferelden. But no, I would rather not. I shouldn't have said anything. Nothing that I would prefer to speak of. Perhaps another day, I'm sorry.
So I have a question for you, Zevran. You're here, at least in part, to get away from the crows, right?
That is indeed true.
So when this is over, what do you intend to do with yourself? You can't go back to Antiva, I assume.
What I do depends in large part upon your fellow Grey Warden. I am not a free man, as it were.
Yes, but what if you could do whatever you wanted?
Why should I go anywhere? You Grey Wardens are the epitome of charm and hospitality.
So you do intend to go back to the crows?
I said no such thing. I think I should stay where I am. Ferelden is a marvelous country.
Why don't I believe you?
You're not much of a patriot, are you? Well, I'm not going to listen to such slander of my new home. Off with you, then.
You hear about a note? Maybe we have some things we can talk about.
Just see the conversation stays civil. If this is a trap,
Zevran, is it? You are Talisan's responsibility. Other crows may try to kill you, but in my eyes, you're already dead. So, you are of no notice. But the warden here, he is of great interest to me. I can't stress enough that I wasn't hired to do anything. An associate was, and he's failed, and failed badly.
I'd like to see you do any better.
Do you take me for a fool? That's a contract I'd never take. A client can always hire more help if the job isn't done the first time. But I am hoping we can make sure that doesn't happen. A man's word is vital in any profession, especially delicate ones. Something like that. Ferelden is a busy place. Blight, civil war, other mayhem. Lots of people not getting along. Sometimes they really don't get along. Maybe want to do something about it. The people that handle that sort of thing can get real busy. I see. Then we are wasting time. No offense meant. Talk to Caesar back at our stall if you want to buy something. No hard feelings, right?
And look who we have here. Come to apologize for leaving me bereft of my lord husband and then vanishing without a trace.
You know it was just business, Isabella. Business that turned out well for you, I see. You inherited the ship, I take it.
I suppose I never did like the greasy bastard, and the siren treats me far better than she ever did him.
Indeed. This is Isabella, Queen of the Eastern Seas and the sharpest blade in Lomerin. And Isabella, my dear, you will no doubt be amused to discover that I am traveling with a Grey Warden.
A Grey Warden? Charmed. Yes, the siren's call. My pride and joy. She's seen me from my own ravine and the Isle of Lemerin to the coast of Parvollen. All I need is my ship and the wind at my back, and once my men have had their fill of the pleasures of dry land, we will be off again. We are getting as far away from this blight as possible. The way I see it, I can sail as far away from it as I need to, even to the other side of the far Anderfels. The sea will look after her own. Ah, of course. You have a duty. If you do save us all, sweet thing, I shall return to thank you personally. I have picked up skills from many different places and turned them into a method distinctly my own. Speed, not strength, is what is essential. I call myself a duelist because I honed my skills in duels with warriors I encountered over the years. All right, I can see you're busy. Perhaps later then?
What is your desire? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Well, the crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is a desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. I don't know about that. It's simply a slightly different skill set from your average killer, as I see it. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. I do. It is not something inherent in an assassin's skills, however, merely something complementary. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we?
We are blessed beyond measure. We are chosen by the holy and beloved to be her guardians. This sacred duty is given to us alone. Rejoice, my brethren, and prepare your hearts to receive her. Lift up your voices and despair not, for she will raise her faithful servants to glory when her... I understand that you are new here, but common courtesy dictates that one shouldn't interrupt. No matter. We were just about done here anyway.
But, Your Reverence, we have not completed the sacraments of the Holy Mother or sung the invocation.
Be calm, Nodda. We have an honored guest. Surely the sacraments can wait.
How nightmarish to live in such a rural village. The only entertainment being priests who go on about the chant of this and that. Just once I'd like to walk into one of these places and discover a lively dance or a drinking festival or an orgy. But alas, no.
That is all for today, my children. I shall see you tomorrow. For now, I should see to our visitor. We find outsiders disruptive. They bring others, and before long, Haven is changed. We will go to any lengths to prevent that. You understand a man's need to protect his family, don't you? Brothers, you know what must be done.
Before you go, there is something I must ask. I see that the path that led you here was not easy. There is suffering in your past. Your suffering, and the suffering of others. Jarwin was discovered by the Templars. You were helping him. Tell me, do you think you failed, Jarwin? Thank you. That is all I wish to know.
You are too hard on yourself. No one's perfect.
You could not have known what would happen. You did what you thought was best.
And now the self-flagellation? Well, that is what comes next in these things, no?
And what of those that follow you? Alistair, Knight, and Warden. You wonder if things would have been different if you were with Duncan on the battlefield. You could have shielded him from the killing blow. You wonder, don't you, if you should have died and not him?
Yes. If Duncan had been saved and not me, everything would be better. If I just had the chance, maybe I...
And you? Why do you say the Maker speaks to you, when all know that the Maker has left? He spoke only to Andraste. Do you believe yourself her equal?
I never said that.
In Orlais, you were someone. In Lothering, you feared you would lose yourself, become a drab sister, and disappear. When your brothers and sisters of the cloister criticized you for what you professed, you were hurt, but you also reveled in it. It made you special. You enjoyed the attention, even if it was negative.
You're saying that I made it up for the attention? I did not. I know what I believe.
And the Antivan elf.
Oh, is it my turn now? Hurrah! I'm so excited.
Many have died at your hand. But is there any you regret more than a woman by the name of...
How do you know about that?
I know much. It is allowed to me. The question stands, however. Do you regret?
Yes, the answer is yes, if that's what you wish to know. I do. Now move on.
The way is open. Good luck, and may you find what you seek.
Uh-oh. I'm terrible at puzzles. Hey, you see those thingies over on the side of that huge chasm? I bet they're used for something. Maybe I should touch them or stand on them?
Yes. Next time we see a strange contraption, why don't you just go stand on it? If something bad happens, hey, we know it's a trap.
You don't really think they're traps, do you?
And the piece of bridge appears solid. But perhaps someone else should go first. I'm sure there's a moral in here somewhere. Something to do with building bridges with friends or some such.
I never dreamed I would ever lay my eyes on the urn of sacred ashes. I have no words to express.
I didn't think anyone could succeed in finding Andraste's final resting place. But here she is.
Nice vase. I should get one for my house. That smell. This is Antivan leather, isn't it? I would know that anywhere. I don't know how you found it, but thank you. Now, if only you could find me a prostitute or two, a bowl of fish chowder, and a corrupt politician, I'd really feel like I was home. And they fit as well. Marvelous. Look at you. Your weary stance, the dark circles under your eyes. Poor man, all this constant walking has gotten to you. Do you know what you need? My thought is this. We retire to your tent, and I show you the sort of massage skills that one only learns growing up in an Antivan whorehouse. A willing victim it is. And if I might ask, if the opportunity to proceed past the massage should present itself... Then why are we still talking? See, I knew this would happen eventually. I should have warned you right from the moment you refused to kill me. It was inevitable. It's true. They used to issue warnings about me at the Antivan border. Ah, the good old days. So then, as the priestess so famously said to the handsome actor, what now? Allow me to make it simple for you, my Grey Warden. What comes next is entirely up to you. I was raised to take my pleasures where they could be found, for they do not come very often. I shall ask nothing more of you than you are willing to give. I was born of a whore and bred as an assassin. All I know is of pleasure and death. What room is there on these things for love, huh? At any rate, we should be on our way. A new day awaits us. Or so the rumor goes.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? I almost wish I didn't. Half of us aren't getting any sleep, the way you two carry on all night. I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. It seems he only ever has one thing on his mind. I question the wisdom of a Grey Warden being involved in such an affair. Which is why I worry. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities, and I fear you will neglect them. But you are a Grey Warden. The title is not a coat that you cast aside at the end of the day. It should inform your every action, your every decision. The way you are acting now, it is not fitting of a Grey Warden. If you insist, I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
He is quite a character, your Zevran, no? He seems to seek pleasure above all things. But there is more to him, isn't there? He is more complex than he lets on. I feel that it is in my interest to study those I travel with. And Zevran deserves special scrutiny, seeing that he tried to kill you. But it seems you trust him, judging from your closeness. If you do, then I do too. You haven't led us astray yet. That aside, you do have good taste. He's an attractive one. I can tell.
You wish to talk? Ah, good. I have a question for you. How well versed are you in poetry? Antivan poetry, specifically. Well, trust me then. You won't be hearing it now. It was recited to me, as I recall, by a rather wealthy target of mine. Let's see. The symphony I see in thee, it whispers songs to me. Songs of hot breath upon my neck. Songs of soft grunts by my head. Songs of hands on muscled back. Songs of thee come to my bed. Oh, I know. I couldn't believe that she thought this would actually convince me to spare her. I had sex with her anyway, but that goes without saying. She still had to die. The poem was amusing at the time, however, and thus I've always remembered it. Now that is a thought, isn't it? Would it work? I'll have to keep that in mind. Personally, my preferred methods of seduction are a bit more tactile. Here I thought you might be cheered up by some naughty poetry. You simply look so grim. Such an unflattering expression for such a handsome face. Ah, who wouldn't? Burn me in the chantry if you must, but you're a man to stoke the lust in women and other men alike. Surely you know this, and you're playing with me. Me, I tend to make the best of whatever situation I find myself in, stealing what moments I can. It's served me well most days. You might learn to do the same. Oh, then I learn something new about you every day. Enough poetry, I think. The time has come for traveling and the murdering of villains and whatever else passes for adventuring these days. Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss? Intrigued by tight leather clothing? I grew up amongst Antivan whores, men and women both. My introduction to the subject of sex was, shall we say, rather practical. My only rule regarding sex is that it be done well. It's a certain open-mindedness that the crows seek in their recruits, for very good reasons. I have had to do many things in my work as an assassin, some pleasant and many not so. The crows recruit elven assassins because we are considered beautiful by humans. I'm sure you can imagine the rest. I cannot change my past, obviously. You are a most intriguing man, but if what I represent makes you uncomfortable, well, it would be better for both of us to know that now, yes? Just so, just so. Ah, enough talk of the past. As my tutor used to say, keep your eyes to the rear in the ambush and the bedchamber, and not otherwise. Ah, words to live by. Can I respond in poetry? No? How's that? Yes, I suppose it is time. You have been a good friend to me after all. There is no reason to be silent. There is a reason I accepted this mission in Ferelden, far away from home, and it had nothing to do with any thought that I might leave the crows. Meeting you, after all, was quite an accident. My last mission before this one did not end well. You must realize that until that day I was cocky and arrogant. I was the best crow in Antiva, I believed, and I bragged of my conquests often, both as an assassin and lover. Indeed, I was often told I was insufferable, right before I ended up in bed with someone. Such is how it was. One of the crow masters grew tired of my boasting. My bid for an incredibly difficult mark was accepted, much to my surprise. A wealthy merchant with many guards and completely silent. Taliesin agreed to be part of my team, as well as an elven lass named Rina. She was a marvel, tough, smooth, wicked, eyes that gleamed like justice. Everything I thought I desired. Rina was special. I had closed off my heart, I thought, but she touched something within me. It frightened me. When Taliesin revealed to me that Rina had accepted a bribe from the merchant, told him of our plan, I readily agreed that she needed to pay the price and allowed Taliesin to kill her. Rina begged me not to. On her knees, with tears in her eyes, she told me that she loved me and had not betrayed us. I laughed in her face and said that even if it were true, I didn't care. I convinced myself it was. Taliesin cut her throat, and I watched her bleed as she stared up at me. I spat on her for betraying the crows. When Taliesin and I finally assassinated the merchant, we found the true source of his information. Rina had not betrayed us, after all. Of course not. I didn't care to know. I wanted to tell the crows what we had done, our mistake. Taliesin convinced me not to. He said it would be a foolish waste. So we reported that Rina had died in the attempt. We needn't have bothered. The crows knew what we had done. The master who disliked me told me so to my face. He said the crows knew, and they didn't care. And one day, my turn would come. To rub it in my face, perhaps. That I was nothing. That she was nothing. You once asked why I wanted to leave the crows. In truth, what I wanted was to die. What better way than to throw myself at one of the fabled Grey Wardens? And then, this happened. And here I am. No. What I want is to begin again. Whatever it is I sought by leaving Antiva, I think I have found it. I owe you a great deal. Let us return to your mission, shall we? Suddenly, I do not feel like standing about.
Welcome back, Grey Warden. And what can Isabella do for you today? I fight with quickness and wit, rather than with brute force and strength. I call myself a duelist because I honed my skills in duels with warriors I encountered over the years. As I said, it is better to avoid being hit, and it is best not to get into fights at all. An unusual request, coming from a fearsome slayer of Darkspawn. I am flattered that you wish to learn from me, sweet thing. But I have watched you, and you seem to lack a particular grace that is required. You are accustomed to doing battle a certain way, yes? I can teach you some basics. Perhaps you can pass it on to someone who might be interested in what I have to offer. I do, however, wish to get to know my potential student better. So we shall call for a drink, and you will honor me with a game. Have you ever played Wicked Grace? It is easy to learn, but difficult to master. You must watch your opponent's moves as carefully as your own. Before we start, the cards must be shuffled. Shall I, or would you like to? Very well. There. That should be sufficient. 5 cards each to start with, and may the cleverest player win. It looks like the deck is being kind to me today. Oh, I think I'm going to win this round. Ha! The Angel of Death card. The game is over. We must show our hands. 2 serpents, a song. Not bad. But the rest of your hand is rather pitiable. I have 3 angels, fortitude, truth, and charity, and the Night of Dawn. I win. Still undefeated after all these years. Will I never meet my match? Not so fast, sweet thing. I'm not sure I know you yet. Come. Another game? Ah, you're a good sport. Another game, then. Before we start, the cards must be shuffled. Shall I, or would you like to? Very well. There. That should be sufficient. 5 cards each to start with, and may the cleverest player win. Is it my turn again? We seem to have run out of ale. I shall send my boy to fetch some. Ha! The Angel of Death card. The game is over. We must show our hands. Oh dear. Is that what you have? Do you need me to go through the rules again? Serpents of deceit and avarice, songs of temerity and mercy. Not a great hand, but I still win. Still undefeated after all these years. Will I never meet my match? Now, there's no need for such petty accusations. You are simply an inexperienced player. You will get better with practice.
If I could have a moment of your time... Excuse us, Isabella. You do know that Isabella is cheating, don't you? She is testing you, I think. She wants to see if you can outwit her. Let me help. I think I know how we can beat her.
Well, will you play again? Stop whispering over there. Ah, you're a good sport. Another game, then. Before we start, the cards must be shuffled. Shall I, or would you like to? Good. Go ahead, then. Are you done yet? 5 cards each to start with, and may the cleverest player win. Oh, I think this card will come in handy. Oh, I think I'm going to win this round. Ha! The Angel of Death card. The game is over. We must show our hands. And I have Songs of Twilight and Autumn, Serpents of Decay and Sadness. The Knights of Compassion and Mercy. They are only just better than mine, but better nonetheless. Congratulations. You have proven yourself quick and resourceful, and I would be honored to pass my skills on to you. Come, we will need some space for this.
You call? Again? I'm game. What? And I'm not even drunk yet. You know, I could get to like this. The last time I came to Denerim, I stayed at an inn so filthy the bedbugs had fleas.
And so here is the mighty Grey Warden at long last. The crows send their greetings once again.
So they sent you, Taliesin. Or did you volunteer for the job?
I volunteered, of course. When I heard that the great Zevran had gone rogue, I simply had to see it for myself.
Is that so? Well, here I am, in the flesh.
You can return with me, Zevran. I know why you did this, and I don't blame you. It's not too late. Come back and we'll make up a story. Anyone can make a mistake. You don't even know who you're talking about, do you?
And neither do you, Taliesin. I'm sorry, my old friend, but the answer is no. I'm not coming back. And you should have stayed in Antiva. There it is. Taliesin is dead. And I am free of the crows. They will assume that I am dead along with Taliesin. So long as I do not make my presence known to them, they will not seek me out. A very good thing. It is in fact what I had hoped for ever since you decided not to kill me. I suppose it would be possible for me to leave now if I wished. I could go far away, somewhere where the crows would never find me. I think, however, that I could also stay here. I made an oath to help you, after all, and saving the world seems a worthy task to see through to the end, yes? Well, we can't have that, can we? I'd best stay lest the consequences become unseemly. Let us return to the task at hand, then. There is still much to be done, yes?
Eamon,
That would
I may have done a terrible thing.
Last. Barely met, and already she betrays us. She and my mother would get along famously.
What in Andraste's name has happened? Are you all right?
The wardens have been captured.
I'm still waiting for a reason not to slit her throat and toss her in the river. I haven't heard it yet.
What? How could this happen?
Never mind that. The question is how to free him.
Surely you mean them, Your Highness. We need Alistair too.
Yes, of course, I meant Alistair too. Calthrion will take him to Fort Draken. Getting inside will be no small feat.
Here. It seems an appropriate moment to give you this. I may not need to, but I want to. I acquired it on my very first job for the Crows. A Raveni merchant prince, and he was wearing a single jeweled earring when I killed him. In fact, that's about all he was wearing. I thought it was beautiful and took it to mark the occasion. I've kept it since, and I'd like you to have it. Don't get the wrong idea about it. You killed Taliesin. As far as the Crows will be concerned, I died with him. That means I'm free, at least for now. Feel free to sell it or wear it, whatever you like. It's really the least I could give you in return. Look, just take it. It's meant a lot to me, but so has what you've done. Please, take it. You are a very frustrating man to deal with. Do you know that? We pick up every other bit of treasure we come across, but not this. You don't want earring, you don't get earring. Very simple.
So, you and the boss, huh?
If by boss you are referring to who I think you are correct.
Just. Well, good luck with that.
Why, thank you ever so much.
You might want to, keep it down, though.
That is rather wily of you, Zevran.
What is so wily of me, oh magical temptress?
Getting in the good graces of the one who decides whether you live or die, not to mention the one who can protect you against your former comrades.
And I am supposed to believe you are here out of a sense of patriotism, perhaps?
Hardly that.
We all have our reasons for doing what we do. Mine happen to come with a set of strong hands. I did not thank you. It occurs to me now that you have freed me from the crows, and yet I did not think to thank you for it. No matter why you did it, still it was done, and I the benefactor. So, thank you. You say that so quickly, and yet it is an odd thing for me to hear. And the crows, we do not have friends, and yet here you are, and I cannot help but consider you such. I must admit that I have thought of you in the same way. I simply had no idea you might feel the same. How very novel. Well, now that that moment's over with, shall we return to the road? No. I mean, no offense. I simply... no. I do not wish to talk about it. If that is what you wish. Then quit asking me such questions. What I said was simple enough. There are other things for you to focus on besides me, I am certain. Do those.
What's on your mind? I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. His demeanor changes when he's with you. There is a tenderness to his gaze I'd never seen till now. Perhaps he just allowed you to see it. I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry. What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.
I am yours. Again? I'm game. I thought that this might be it. Are you certain you wish to talk about this? I really do not know what to say. Very well. An assassin must learn to forget about sentiment. It is dangerous. You take your pleasures where you can when life is good. To expect anything more would be reckless. I thought it was the same between us, something to enjoy, a pleasant diversion, and little more. And yet... I don't know. How would you know such a thing? I grew up amongst those who sold the illusion of love, and then I was trained to make my heart cold in favor of the kill. Everything I have been taught says what I feel is wrong. Yet, I cannot help it. Since you asked me into your tent, I have been nothing but confused. Do you understand me at all? Then that is enough for me. I am sorry for acting so strangely. I think I will be better now. Much better. So, we head into the city to face the archdemon together, do we? Just as it should be. Allow me to say that it has been a pleasure, my friend. Assassinating you was the luckiest thing that could have happened to me. By your side, I would willingly storm the gates of the Dark City itself. Do not doubt it. I will be relieved when all this pomp and ceremony is done. Such events are perfect opportunities for assassins, after all. I can't help but expect the crows to appear at any moment, which would be a welcome break, mind you. You see? This is why I like you. Always game for a little fun. You know, it does occur to me that staying in one place is only going to invite the crows to find me that much quicker, while fun, that might eventually get complicated. You said earlier that you were planning on returning to the Grey Warden fold soon. Is that true? And would you be in favor of my remaining with you? I've grown fond of you, you see. Sad, but true. Now that's a request I would be hard-pressed to refuse. So I won't. So let the crows come. It will make for fun times and interesting party talk, yes? Well then, since I am sticking around, I suppose we'll have plenty of time to speak later, yes? So go on and get paraded about. It's fun to watch. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on you and make sure no one gets a clear shot. Not without paying me a great deal of coin, anyhow. I thought that this might be it. Are you certain you wish to talk about this? I really do not know what to say. Very well. An assassin must learn to forget about sentiment. It is dangerous. You take your pleasures where you can when life is good. To expect anything more would be reckless. I thought it was the same between us, something to enjoy, a pleasant diversion, and little more. And yet, I don't know. How would you know such a thing? I grew up amongst those who sold the illusion of love, and then I was trained to make my heart cold in favor of the kill. Everything I have been taught says what I feel is wrong, yet I cannot help it. Since you asked me into your tent, I have been nothing but confused. Do you understand me at all? All I need to know is if there might be some future for us, some possibility of... I do not know what. I still have the earring. I would like to give it to you as a token of affection. Will you take it? Not unless you wish it. Then that is enough for me. I am sorry for acting so strangely. I think I will be better now. Much better.
So Zevran told you, did he? It really doesn't matter. This time his warden isn't here to protect him. I am thoroughly disappointed. No one fails the crows and lives.
Ah, poor stupid Nuncio. The crows do like that saying, but I am living proof it's a lie. Why they insist on thinking they can kill people like you and the warden, I will never guess. Your mother is supposedly the one called Flemeth, the very witch from legend. Is that not true?
There is nothing supposed about it. Flemeth is my mother.
I was more doubtful of the legend rather than your relationship to this woman. Anyone can claim a name, after all.
You're welcome to ask her if you ever meet her. You're just her type.
Oh, elven and handsome?
The sort that will never be missed.
Sounds intriguing, if you ask me.
You assassin types have a death wish, I see.
I swear the things I could do to you.
Ugh, it is leering at me once again.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
That is a most offensive odor.
And you're looking at me?
Should I be looking elsewhere? Have you forgotten about the fish you stored in your backpack, perhaps?
I was saving it. Won't be ready for the lie for at least another day.
Even the chastened did not have such disgusting habits, and they consumed the flesh of the dead.
Fine, fine. I'll soak it in the lie now. Have it your way, Miss Squeamish.
That's not what I... no, never mind. Just get it over with, quickly.
You couldn't hurt me if you wanted to, witch, you know that?
'Tis so.
Dwarves resist magic, woman. There's nothing you could do.
Nothing. I could not, for instance, kick you in your manhood.
Oh.
Do you wish to see?
Not necessary.
Well, the offer stands.
Such sinister glares do you a disservice, dear Morrigan. Yours should be a face that smiles.
Do tell.
Has no one told you? Perhaps that is not surprising, considering you have lived such a sheltered life. Were you a woman of the city, you would be accustomed to men showering you with praise and gifts.
I know as much of men as I need to. I know when one is indulging in pointless flattery, for instance.
It is flattery only if I exaggerate the truth to please you. I am but stating a simple fact.
Tell me, does this work on other women?
I think any woman would like to hear the truth of how her beauty affects a man. Do you not?
I think that sort of manure is best reserved for farming.
One day you will realize that you have wasted your youth and beauty on bitterness and suspicion. Mark my words.
Remind me to bring you along if we go sailing. The hot air will prove useful.
So you can turn into animals, aye? Like cats and wolves?
When the desire strikes me.
Have you ever, went into winter?
That's a most curious little mind you have, dwarf. And what if I had? Would that thought comfort you during your lonely nights?
Have you ever changed during?
Why are you suddenly asking me this?
How do we know you're truly a woman, or even a human? You could be a chipmouse, or a nug. Imagine that.
Why, yes! I am actually a nug in human form. I have come to observe your kind. Lay your hand on me once more, dwarf, and the moment shall be your last.
Don't take it personally. I stepped on a rock. You don't want me to fall and break my neck, do you?
The prospect would not trouble me overmuch.
You sound just like Bronca.
Then I commend her good sense. But this is the last time I will tell you. Touch me no more.
Bronca said that too.
Has anyone told you what marvelous eyes you possess, my dear?
Again with the flattery. Do you not tire from these pointless exercises?
In Antiva, women are accustomed to being showered with the praise they deserve. Men should worship you at your feet as you pass.
They don't find that incredibly annoying?
They are goddesses receiving their subjects, just as you should be. Whatever would be annoying about that?
I have no wish to be placed upon a pedestal.
But you deserve no less. You should be admired by painters, copied by sculptors, exalted by poets. Surely, you know that yours is a beauty so exotic it would turn the eye of the maker himself.
Well, I suppose I...
Fine. So, I owe you a flagon, bastard.
Much obliged, sir.
I hate you all